Hello and welcome to Sasha and Goff Live Recorded.
I'm Sasha.
And I'm Goff, and this week we are talking about who we voted for. Just
Yeah!
kidding. Just kidding.
Donald Jamiroquai Trump.
Woo! No, this week we're going to be talking about our top 3 TV moms. I don't even know who sent that in, actually.
Melania Jamiroquai Trump.
They're clearing they're winning the whole thing this week. So, yeah, we did our top 3 TV dads. That was our first episode, I believe. So,
Yeah.
how you feeling about this one?
Good. I think it's okay. I think you're not gonna be. I think it's okay. I'll leave it.
I'm just going to be whelmed.
Accurately and decently whelmed.
Okay.
I think there's a couple on there that you might be like, oh, okay, all right.
Okay.
I was thinking about this though. Like, we did top TV dads.
Yeah.
We're doing top TV moms.
Okay.
What about bottom?
Oh, like the worst ones?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Should we put that in the bucket?
Yeah, that'd be a fun one.
Yeah, because I was coming across some moms that were. I was like, oh,
Man, we could also just make that part of our show now. The top 3 is
Top
always
and
good
bottom.
and bottom.
Yeah, I think we might have to have a meeting after
Okay.
this. But yeah.
We'll see about that. I'm getting too ahead of myself.
No, I think that's good. Plus, then like it makes the show longer, so
Yeah.
then we don't have to figure out what we need to talk about ahead of time.
Exactly.
It's perfect.
So, it's been a while. I was just going to talk about the advertisement wall. We haven't talked about this in a
I
few
forgot
weeks.
about
Yeah,
that.
in case, anyone that hasn't listened to the show in quite a while or is maybe new to the show, doubt it, but this spot up here where the no bozo sign is, as paid for by your wife Megan, that's our advertisement space. You can knock that out of the way for $1, $1 US. That'll go into this little cup here.
And you could put whatever you want up there. You could put your head on the bozo. You could completely take the picture out of it. You could do whatever you want with that thing.
And then you can also, if you want, send in like our buddy Shug and my dog Lucy. They sent in their headshots.
Yeah.
We like those too. They're 8x10s if you want to. Those are free. Those
Yeah.
are free if you want to just join the show.
Yeah, just send us your 8x10s and we will not ask questions. We will just put them up. And,
Absolutely.
Yeah, write whatever you want on there. And I also have a special request. Our dear friend producer Tony, he made this 3D printed, what do you call these QR
It's a
codes?
QR code.
And this QR code used to lead you to a video of Marty Jannetty of the Rockers driving a motorcycle through a hotel into a Christmas tree. I tried going on this, and it does not do it currently. So, Tony, if you could fix that.
Well,
I'd
is it? I wonder if
appreciate
it's just like, have you tried that actual one, or you tried watching one of our videos and tried scanning it through that?
both. Yeah,
Okay.
both. I thought it was maybe just a video, and then so I tried it over here, and it didn't work. And I was like, Tony, I don't know what you got going on over there, but it's not as important as this.
This guy.
Yeah.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah.
So, how are you? How you doing
I'm
this
good.
week, man?
I'm doing good. I don't know, nothing special, nothing out of the ordinary.
I've noticed I tried to finagle my whatever this
Pop screen.
thing is, and now it's like I'm looking at you through a different.
Yeah.
We'll have to fix this next week, but yeah. Anyway,
We got a lot of things we need to fix on this show.
yeah,
And they're just not happening.
yeah.
I still haven't fixed the merch situation. I'm working on getting us cheap merch. What kind of merch would you like? Because you're going to be the one who's buying it.
Yeah.
You want a coffee cup?
I mean, sure. I usually drink out of like the insulated ones, though.
Okay, I can
Yeah,
do that.
Okay.
I can get
How about one of those?
Yeah.
Fanny packs,
Fanny pack. Okay, all right.
pogs,
Bikinis?
pogs.
Oh, pogs. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, slammers.
Yes,
Slammers might be expensive.
they might be. Yeah. So, yeah, no. Hoodies, and t-shirts.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
But make
boring.
sure they're the
Boring.
heather material. It's got to be that. That's like the blended shirt material.
Okay.
And those like don't shrink as much as the other ones, and they're very comfy.
I can promise you this. I will do whatever the company decides.
Okay.
Because
Sounds good.
I have no I can't do anything. Like, I can't say which shirts and which. Maybe I can. Maybe I can pick from certain ones or something like that. Look, I've signed us up with a company.
Okay.
And that's as far as I've gotten. We don't really have like a great picture. We have our logo,
Yeah.
like that's on the stickers, which is fine, except it's like gray background.
I know.
So like, I don't know. We have to either fix this one or get a new one.
I'll work on it. I'll give you some ideas.
Yeah.
We'll let the fans pick. Actually,
We'll talk about that in the meeting after the show.
We've got a lot to talk about after this show. I had to write this down because both of these things happened to me this week, and I got a question for you.
Okay.
I want you to tell me which one of these. This is more just me bitching. Which one of these things is worse? Okay. All right. So when you're shoveling your snow, your driveway. Like when you're putting all the weight, you're kind of using your body, and then you hit one of those cracks, and the thing gets you right in the midsection.
Yeah. Yes.
One of the worst feelings. And then the other one, when you slam your car door on your seatbelt because it hasn't pulled itself back up correctly. You know what I mean?
No.
Like when you get out of it's supposed to kind of retract back in.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hanging loose and you go to slam your door and it just bang, shoots back open.
I don't know that I've ever done that.
Oh my God, I've done it 3 times this week.
It's been a long time since I've done that. The shoveling thing I've done even if it's not snow. If I'm just transporting a shovel somewhere, it always gets stuck on something. Yeah. And I'm more embarrassed than I am injured.
Oh,
because there's always a neighbor outside that sees me going and hits me in the stomach, and
it's
then I cry.
We don't recover like we used to. So when you do that, it's a good 5 seconds before you replant, and then
of course that's when the neighbor looks up and you look up and you're like, "Hey, Terry."
Yeah.
Hey, oh.
And he's like, "Yeah, how's the midsection?"
Yeah,
you're
stupid
like,
Terry.
You saw that. Another thing I hate. And
shout out Terry.
My daughter Sadie, she uses bruh for everything now, and I've noticed
thing,
it's that's kind of and bro, which is one of my favorite words of all time. Not in a douchey way. I just love using the word bro.
No, it's a douchey way.
Everything with that. That's how responses are. It's bruh. So I hate that she's taken my word in.
No, that's totally a younger generation thing, the bruh.
Yeah.
I use it sarcastically in comments to people, but it's
what about
something.
Brother?
But you know what? Brother's solid.
Yeah.
Brother has never gone astray because that's like a wrestler calling another wrestler. Let me tell you something, brother. Brother always works.
See, whenever I talk for Lucy in her voice, she always uses the word brother. So every sentence is, yeah, brother.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know, the way that kids or younger people speak, and the words they use now, and I don't even want to say them because I'm embarrassed. But I get it. It's we used to say dumb stuff, I assume. Even 5 years ago, I get mad when people say seemingly. The new one that is everywhere is utterly. It's all over the place, and it bothers me. I want to punch people in the stomach with a shovel.
You want to punch them in the udder?
In the udder. Right in the udder. How many udders you got? 6?
2.
2.
Okay.
I
got 2.
But yeah, and before that, epic fail, hated epic fail. We've gone over this before, but all of that stuff, I'm like, well, we used to say stupid stuff too.
Yeah, where did dude come from?
80s, but that was 80s. So that came from before. Some of them have lasted, but I don't think Riz is going to last. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
When you hear what they mean, though, sometimes it's all right, that's not bad.
Yeah, that's why you got to be open-minded to it.
For me, it was dead ass, which means seriously.
Okay.
So, if I'm just no, dude, that show was good, dead ass. I think it was one of the dumbest things to me until I literally said to Joni, no, I'm dead ass serious. Okay, I get it.
That's funny. I only say dad ass. Megan, look at dad ass over there.
Oh, I thought you were being look at dad ass.
And then she gets mad, and then she yells at me.
That's when the lawyer is called.
In the basement. But you have to be a little bit more open-minded. I used to be way more closed-minded about that stuff, and you're like, you know what? Kids are going to do their own thing. Yeah. And guess what? They're going to die when the AI robots turn on us anyway.
We're all going to die at the same time.
So who cares? Yeah, who cares? Just enjoy your life and move on,
Yeah, because my younger daughter, Natalie, she just walks around the house, saying words like that. And it's all right. It's out of context. I think she just enjoys being part of it.
And how old is she?
She's 10.
10.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she's always, you're skibbity Ohio Riz.
Does she really?
I don't know.
Does she really use skibbity?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah, I don't know what it means, but
it's good. And I'm like, well, skibbity Ohio. Ohio is an insult, though. I thought. No, I think that's part of it. I think skibbity Ohio is
wow.
But I don't know anything.
That's rough. It's even more rough that we are talking about it because it's gross. It's kind of gross. What if we really use the words that they use?
I don't know. It's funny. Another podcast I listen to, the host is always like, "Oh, as the kids say," and it's just like, nah, that's how you say. It's like it's always just like, as the kids say. It's like, just say it. It's cool.
The
it's
annoying
cool
stuff that like we say because we're older is just like the dumb stuff that they say when they're younger. Like they hear us say it and they're grossed out by it.
What the hell does cool mean?
Yeah. Nerds.
I don't know, man. Do you got anything to talk about? This is one of those weeks, man. I wanted to talk about shit I hate.
Let's hit it up. If you got nothing, I'm taking over. We got an email from Mike. So Mike has something to say.
All right, let's go.
Our dear friend Mike from Melmac chimed in. If you remember last week, we were talking about our top 3 ways to treat yourself.
Yes.
And so he sent in his, which is it's like many ways to treat yourself, but it's really like one day of treating yourself. Pretty solid stuff.
Okay.
Let me read it for you.
Here we go.
He says, love your show. Go get a minimum 45-minute massage at 10 a.m. Right? So he's putting the schedule to work here.
Okay.
45-minute massage, 10 a.m. Take an Uber to lunch at somewhere nice like Shaw's Crab House. Get some champagne or a kick-ass Chardonnay with some oysters to start.
Kick-ass.
Have a lobster roll or a wedge salad. Nothing too crazy, but filling and good. And then splurge on some tickets to the White Sox game behind home plate, the United Scout seats. All you can eat, all you can drink. You have a server. They throw hot dogs out to anyone sitting in the section because it's all inclusive. And then you have your own private bathroom walking behind the visitors team locker room. And he goes, I guess that would be my top 3 way to treat yourself. And if you're into hockey, the Blackhawks actually offer the same service for the front 2 rows of the glass.
Nice.
So super cool experience and highly recommended. Thank you, Mike. I mean,
thanks, Mike.
I'm not a baseball guy. I don't drink. Still sounds like a nice day. It's like it's treating yourself in one day with many experiences.
Which is, like based on the show Parks and Rec, treat yourself is usually a one-day thing.
Yeah. Take the day off and do this.
So actually that's Mike actually, he had the, after listening to ours, was like, let me show you how to do this properly.
Yeah, he's like, this is actually what I meant. Not your guys' cakes and Danishes. But thank you, Mike. I appreciate it.
That's awesome. Thanks, Mike.
Which, it leads me to a couple questions I have for you. So, like, if you're in that situation, right, what sporting tickets are you going to get that are, like, the splurge tickets? So, like, which sport and where? Are you going 50-yard line, Bears, 100 level? Are you going White Sox right behind the plate? Are you going Chicago Bulls courtside seats? Are you going Chicago Fire for some reason? Even though you don't like soccer, you're like, I'm going to try things out in a classy way. Are you going WNBA and you're right behind Caitlin Clark when the Indiana Fever come to town? Yeah. What are you doing? And where are you sitting?
All right, well, this is funny because Mike just answered it in his email because I went with him to the game he's talking about where we said, the United... Well, not that whole... Maybe we did. I don't remember. However, I did go... Yeah, we sat in the United Scout seats
so that's
US your... Cellular, 100%. I don't even remember what the ticket, like the price. He got the tickets through one of his vendors, but I believe we were like 2 rows up from being on TV the entire game. Okay. But there was, Joni said she saw us come down and walk through the tunnel he's talking about, like to go to the bathrooms and stuff. It's right behind the catcher. So it's like if you're coming or going, people are going to see you. And I mean, a story I tell people all the time when I went with him, the server comes up to us and she's like, what can I get you guys to drink? And Mike's just like, can I get 2 vodka lemonades and a Miller Lite? What do you want, Bri? So it's just like, I'll take the same. But it's seriously, I mean, like people just walking around vendors, like hot dogs, everything. Wow. And you've got the peasants in the next sections that are like, dude, hook me up, like wanting us to get food for them.
That's so funny.
But that was 100%. I would do that.
That is your number one.
I have, as far as football, at least in Chicago, and it's not even just a Bears thing.
Well, I was going to say, also take out weather.
Okay.
Like, not a cold day. Like, if the weather's perfect outside, would 50-yard seats or whatever do that?
It probably would, but I would want more nosebleeds so I could see the field.
Yeah.
Because when you're actually at a football game, like having to crane your head when you're watching everything happen so far away and you're watching the play and it's like you can't get depth perception. So it's like, I don't know if that was a 5-yard run or a 10-yard run or whatever. Yeah. But Yeah, and I've never been to a Hawks game, so I can't speak to that.
Okay.
I've been to a couple Bulls games, but no, as I've said many times, the White Sox are my favorite team. I know they suck, but still, that experience was fantastic. Before the game, we got to go. Yeah, there was like a special buffet thing, but I mean, it was like prime rib, like good stuff, And
so then that answers my next question, probably, which is, what are the best seats you ever had for a game?
Definitely.
What's the second best seats you ever had for a game then?
Whew. You know what? I'm going to change it. Not a game. It was a wrestling event. Actually, it was Judgment Day.
Okay.
I believe the only wrestling event I ever went to. This was in like '98 or '99.
Wow.
99 or 98 or 99% sure you were there too. I went with your cousin, and there was probably like 10 or 12 of us. But anyway,
Wow.
I was sitting with my buddy Marco. Me and Marco were friends with Nick, obviously, and we didn't know you guys that well, the rest of the DCWA guys, but there was something happened with the tickets where Nick screwed up and he had to scalp one. I think he offered one of us a ticket when there wasn't one. So he felt bad. So we had these awesome seats that were almost floor level. I don't know how much we paid for them. I don't even remember. And it was one of those things where like two guys came and we were sitting in the wrong seats and we got better seats, but they were actually worse. Like we were lower down, so we couldn't see as much. And it was so weird because Nick was literally like across, like in the nosebleed. Like I felt so bad because, he invited us to this thing and then ended up getting screwed out of a ticket. So
that's interesting. I wouldn't have thought wrestling would be your go-to.
I mean, because I'm usually, like at U.S. Cellular, again, I just keep talking about that because I go there, or Guaranteed Rate Field, the Sox field. I feel like for the most part, if you really just want to watch the game, you can almost find a good spot anywhere. Yeah, it's going to suck getting up to your seat and getting service and stuff, but I mean, as far as seeing, because a baseball field compared to like an entire, which is like more circular as opposed to like rectangle, like the long ways, but yeah, I don't know, but
see,
how about you?
It's interesting because like I am not a big baseball fan. And, like, I've been to tons of games, and I'm always like, I want to sit in the outfield. Like, that's my preference because I'm like, well, they can hit a home run or something. I like how it looks from there because if they hit the ball, it's generally coming this way.
It's like the kind of the mystery of, is it like, or is it going to die 50 feet in front of me? And like,
whereas, like, I've been on, like, let's say the first baseline or third baseline or whatever, and when you see the ball gets hit, well, then the ball's like on the opposite side of the stadium, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on over there. My vision's not that good. But I do get what you're saying, though, where it's like you can't sit in a wrong area, I feel, in baseball. Like I wouldn't be as picky in baseball because I've sat at the top of a baseball stadium, and you're still like, you can see everything, and the play develops and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Football, I've only been to like 2 football games in my life, and they were fine. Like, whatever. It wasn't great. It wasn't horrible. I actually think I went one time. Maybe the only Bears game I ever went to was with my dear friend Giuseppe. I don't know if his family had season tickets or knew somebody with season tickets or something like that. So we sat, I feel like 100 level, somewhere in the middle. I liked it, but I'm just not a huge football fan. So for me, it's like courtside basketball is it's an experience that is like, it'll change the way you watch basketball because you watch it on TV, or if you watch it in the 300 level, you're like, all right, it's people playing basketball. What I could play, how come I can't play? When you're right next to the court, you realize how big, fast, strong, like all that stuff. You're like, oh, no, I can't do what these guys are doing.
You know what though? Like, to kind of contrast that a little bit though, just the amount, like around here, just like football fields there are, when you drive past and you're like, that's 100 yards. Like 100 yards is 100 yards, and it's like, that's the same field that the pro, I mean, it might be a little bit wider, but yeah, it's just crazy how big and massive it looks on TV, true. And then it's like you're standing next to it, and it's like,
and for, like, I've only had second row seats or something, like courtside. That's like the best seats I think I ever had for an NBA game, but it was eye-opening. Like, it was, and I imagine it's the same for all sports. If you're that close to like true athletes, even baseball. I don't like baseball, but like I know what they're doing is like a skill. You know what I mean? And like the way that they do it is obviously it's not just like anybody can do it.
Well, it's like when you're standing close to someone that is that just fucking talented, enough to be a professional and make money playing a sport, it's like.
And hockey, I've only been when the Blackhawks when it used to be like $6 and they couldn't get anybody in the stadium. Like,
they didn't have a TV deal.
Yeah,
for
this
the
was
home games,
a long time ago. I never went when they were good. So, yeah, I don't know. Basketball is good. I think 100 or 200 level as long as you're in between the baskets. But I don't know. Once again, I'm a seat Nazi. I've said it before. I'll say it again. It's just that's the way it is. So.
Yeah, the last Bulls game I went to was with my my little sister Jessica, and we were Derrick Rose was still on the team, so I mean that was cool to see him. But yeah, I believe we were pretty high up, but like behind like one of the baskets, and I mean it was still the United Center is a nice place.
Yeah, it's like fun and whatever, and like the people in the 300 level are way cooler than the people in the 100 level.
Exactly,
because everybody's just a little bit crazy. But
yeah, and like basketball and hockey games actually don't take that long. I mean, like a baseball game can go like fucking 4 hours, but like basketball games are about like 2 hours, 15 minutes, maybe 2.5 tops.
Yeah,
not bad.
Well, we've talked sports, and so now I'm gonna introduce. What do you feel about playing another game?
Let's do it, man.
All right.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I brought a game this week. If you do not see a game after what I'm talking about, it's because Goff has said that we can't play this game because he is offended by it or whatever. But I am going to keep this part in so that it was Goff's idea to shut this down. But
oh, great.
So here's the game. The game is because, look, we live in the United States. We have zero problems in this country.
Zero.
The world, there's nothing going on that's exciting.
The world is our oyster.
So, it's kind of tough to come up with a game because you're like, well, everything's perfect. So what's the one thing that's not perfect? Well, the mall that me and you went to as a kid, total swerve. You're like, what's going on over here? They're destroying it. They're completely like wrecking it or whatever. And so I've been driving by it every day, and every day there's more and more of it torn down, and I'm like, oh, wow, that's pretty crazy. And then it harkens me back to a time back when the world was in trouble, And so I want to play...
Before this great time we're in now?
Right now we're thriving. We're all thriving equally.
Getting along.
As great. And so I came up with a little game, and it's called...
I saw one of your pictures. I have a feeling I know where this is going.
It's called Stratford Square Mall, LA Fires, or Gaza.
Oh, my God.
And so the goal here is for us to go back to this horrible, horrific time for all these things that have gone on. Or maybe it's still going on. Who knows? But I want you to decide with the pictures that I show you whether they are Stratford Square, LA fire damage, or the wreckage in Gaza.
Jesus. All right. All right. Let's do it.
Okay, so here's number one.
Okay.
Here you go. I'll also put these better view on the YouTube if you're watching. So.
Okay, so by process of elimination, this is not Stratford Square just because of the proximity of the trees, I'm guessing.
Okay.
I'm going to say this is Gaza.
This is the LA Fires. 0 for 1. 0 for 1.
I was looking for like a palm tree.
0 for 1.
A burnt palm tree.
All right, so here is our second picture here. It's a beauty. We got a nice one here. If you take a look at this, it's from further away than the one that you were just looking at. It's like an aerial view.
That is Gaza.
This is Los Angeles.
Is it really?
It is Los Angeles. You do not know your wreckage.
I guess not, man.
So 0 for 2. Solid game. We might have to play this one again in the future.
How like what's the word? Like sure I am that I'm like that's Gaza.
That's definitely
Gaza, bro. Jeez.
All right, so here's number 3. Is this Stratford Square? Is this Gaza, or is this LA?
I mean, it's hard to tell with like the destruction here and how shitty this looks, but I'm gonna say this is No, this is the mall. That's the mall.
This is Gaza. This is actually Gaza.
Is it really?
This is Gaza, 100%. If you look, it says Fry Deli. I don't know what that means over there, but we don't have those at Stratford Square. So 0 for 3. I got you on that one. This is, by the way, I thought this was not going to be a good game. This might be better than Yugoslavian war criminal or Serbian basketball player. All right, so here is number 4.
I'm going to get one right. Is this Gaza?
This is Stratford Square. You could tell from this building up here, that was the movie theater, the top of the movie theater.
Cinemark.
0 for 4.
All right.
All right, here's one that you get.
All right.
Okay.
Stratford Square Mall.
This is Gaza. No, this
God.
is you got it. You got
They
it.
have a Stratford Square Mall in Gaza.
That would be incredible. I only put this in thinking it would be funny if you missed all of them and it would be like a gimme.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
And it worked.
That's how it's gonna be.
That's the one that you
crap,
got.
Is this the last one?
And this is the last one. So if you get this, we get to free the hostages. That's all I'm saying. So
Can it be Gaza, please? Can one of them be Gaza?
this is actually Stratford Square. 1 for 5, and the only one you got was the
God.
one that said Stratford Square.
And
Mall.
in the process, we're going to hell.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah, definitely. I mean,
That's a good game.
before this, we were going to hell.
See,
Now
you know
we just
what?
assured it. By the way, lots of wreckage, lots of love, sending out all the good
Yeah.
things and positive vibes and good stuff.
Absolutely,
Like
yeah.
in a serious note, then of course you can do things. Don't. This is just a joke and whatever. And hopefully Goff lets it stay in the episode.
It's
So.
fine with me.
right,
I'm more disappointed with my score.
With his-
But you know what? That was very effective having the black and white pictures because
I know,
it's like I
I
don't
know.
know. And the funny thing is, like, all this is happening now, but I'm thinking of like history books, and it's like, okay, that's definitely,
No, I only have a black and white printer, and as I was printing it, I was like, "Oh, this is gonna help."
Oh, yeah.
Because otherwise, you would see like I don't know, it would just be an easier.
I can't believe the one with the escalators I got wrong.
Yeah.
That was well played, though.
You
That was
got
a good joke.
You got. It was like when I put Yakov Smirnoff in.
Yeah.
And you
I
got.
but I didn't get the joke, so it wasn't as good. So, all right, well, that was awesome.
All right.
Thank you for that. Two weeks, 2 games. Love
Solid.
it.
I got to get the list going up here of what games we've played.
Yeah, I told you before the show one I thought of, but I have to do more research into it.
Okay.
So we'll see about that one. So I guess we're gonna talk about what we're putting inside ourselves.
Oh, all right.
I'll start off this one. I got a food item for you, my friend.
Okay.
All right. So in the vein of like cookie dough, did you know that you can buy cheesecake filling and just eat it like out of a tub? So you're essentially eating cheesecake, but like without.
What do you mean cheesecake filling?
So it's
Not-
like if you wanted to make your own cheesecake, like you would get the pie crust and then literally just dump this stuff in and put it in the fridge for like 2 hours and it'll like kind of solidify or like it'll harden a little bit more. But yeah, this is essentially just if you wanted to make your own cheesecake. It's just a tub of cheesecake filling. So it's like I was literally eating this just by the spoonful the other day.
Oh, it's not a product that's offered. It's just what you did.
No. This is like made by Philadelphia, like the cream cheese company.
But you're supposed to pour it into something
Yes,
and let
but
it
you
sit.
could, it's like cookie dough, though. Like I said, a lot of
Okay.
people just eat it because it's delicious either way.
All right.
This tastes just like cheesecake. It's just not, it would be a really wet cheesecake if you were eating like this. I guess that's
It's
one
like
way
eating
to
a
say it.
cheesecake in the rain.
Yes.
I would love to know the calorie.
I don't care about the
Caloric-
intake,
Yeah.
my friend.
Wow.
I don't have time for that. But yeah, this is
Okay.
just Joni was like,
Get
oh
it.
yeah, that's been a thing for a while, and it's just like not for me, sweetheart.
Yeah.
So.
And it's going to be a thing from here on out.
Damn right. Another obscure one here. This is an Instagram follow for everyone.
Oh, all right.
This is at Drew Freed, DROOFREED. This is a guy. This is the dumbest thing, but you know what? Like, if you can find a niche, I mean, he's up there with the followers. This is a guy who literally goes around LA on rollerblades, maybe not LA recently, on rollerblades and roasts mailboxes. So he'll just find like a really fancy mailbox, and it's always like he'll like tell a joke about it, but
Oh.
every one ends with him being like, "You piece of shit," as he's like skating away. It's so dumb, but it's just so funny because he actually made a couple new ones where he raps like Eminem. So it's actually very clever,
Okay.
and it's like, no, you piece of shit, as he's skating away.
Drew Freed.
And of course, it's funnier because he's on rollerblades, which I know you love. And there was an episode where he was doing drive-by roasts, but of course they show him in the car, and he's still got the rollerblades on, driving with them.
Wow.
So, but
Okay.
yeah, it's DROOFREED.
Funny is funny,
Yeah.
regardless of whether you're wearing rollerblades or not. But when you said roasts,
Yeah,
I was like,
just talking shit to
like
mailboxes.
he is an arsonist, like that
No,
they're
no,
looking
no,
for in
no.
LA, or
No,
yeah,
I
so-
should say roasting, as the kids
yeah,
say.
as the
insulting.
kids. Okay.
All right, and then the last thing, I got some new music. At least this came out a couple weeks ago. Hardcore band Stick to Your Guns.
Oh, okay.
Heard of them?
I have, yeah.
Okay, you a fan at all?
I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah, I've given it a couple tries, I think, but it's like too aggressive
Yeah.
for me.
I got you. That's totally fine. Like, I was trying to think who to compare it to. Hatebreed is a band. I would say maybe not the message, but like just I'm trying to think of like the guttural voice. I was Howard from Kill Switch Engage a little bit, not their current singer, who was like their last one. But anyway,
but it is aggressive.
Yeah,
it's like
that's like tough guy hardcore.
Yeah, it's a lot more hardcore than the like hardcore that I
not like
enjoy.
Good Riddance or Kid Dynamite. This is like I mean like people like literally punching each other in pits and shit. But anyway, they do have like overall a good message. They're like they do preach. I say preach, but I hate to say that, but it kind of is, because I compare them to Good Riddance in that sense, though, where it's like too many of the songs have like intros and you're just like, God, know, they have a lot of that stuff.
I will say this. I listen to not as much Good Riddance as I would because of the intros.
Really?
Because like I don't want to put it on a playlist and then it's like, hey, your mom was coming. Where were you when I was looking for the thing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Give me the fucking money, Keith.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah, that's
Where's
the one.
the fucking money?
Yes.
Dad, the money's gone. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't need that. Just give me the song.
See, that's like a problem with
and
me.
I love
like,
Good Riddance. Like one of my favorite bands ever, probably.
Totally.
Punk bands, for sure. But it's just like, I can't put this on when I'm,
Yeah. Well, it's like Propaganda, some of their songs, like when you have to hear like a baby horse being beaten or something, or a whale being harpooned.
Into that.
It's
I like
what the
that.
fuck?
Yeah.
But anyway, so it's 10 songs, 24 minutes. What do you think about that? Actually, that would be my question as far as music. What is like, what's a perfect, all right, let's say a punk song. For one song, what's a good...
I mean, when you say 10 songs, 24 minutes, I'm like right in there. Yeah.
Okay.
But if you're... I guess I'll give it a little leniency. Like, you could have like 2 songs that are longer.
Okay.
So like a half-hour album is all I need. Once you go past 30 minutes, you better be Guns N' Roses.
Okay.
Like, yeah. Gob would have like 19 songs, and it would be like 29 minutes.
Kid
like,
Dynamite too. Yeah.
Give me
18 songs, 19 minutes.
Paint It Black. Yeah. Every song's under a minute. You're like, this is a little too much. But yeah.
No. So I'm right about where you are. I like 32, 33 minutes, and then if it's over like 42 minutes, I'm like, all right, we're getting a little
2.5 minute song. That's what I want.
And that's what, like, bands like Avenged Sevenfold, who it's not my favorite, but I still enjoy it sometimes. It's like, God damn it, after like 5 minutes, it's just like, next song. Like, we don't need these long breakdowns.
There's a lot of bands who write long songs that shouldn't write long songs. Yeah. Like, not Guns N' Roses. Guns N' Roses is like, here's the long song, because we're Guns N' Roses and this wails. November Rain, I mean, talk about my emotions going up and down.
Just watching the video.
Shoot.
I watched the video about, like, that video the other day.
Yeah.
It's so goddamn funny because it's, like, the worst video. I mean, it's done really well, but the whole plot behind it is, like, why'd that guy jump through the cake?
It's a little weird. Yeah, exactly.
Why is Slash's guitar not hooked up to anything? Where are all the cars for the people? Yeah.
This is not the first time in this episode where we are going to be questioning plots.
Oh.
Let me just
say
that. So,
Good.
Yeah. But I'm with you. 2.5 minutes. Get me in, get me out. A little bridge.
Oh yeah. So yeah, stick to your guns. Keep Planting Flowers is the name of the CD.
Cool.
So that's what I'm putting inside myself. How about you?
All right, I got a couple things. I have Dark Side of the Ring.
Oh, cool.
I haven't talked about it. I don't think
you have
ever
on this podcast.
Here. It's been around for 5-6 seasons. It's been around for a while. Used to talk about it on my wrestling podcast back in the day. Really, it's just been collecting on my DVR. Like, I watched the first season almost religiously, and then after that, I was kind of like, I know what happens with a lot of these people. Like legitimately know them and their story. Yeah. And so it's not always like, I'm interested. And then a lot of them are also people you've never heard of, which is kind of cool because you're like, okay, this is a wrestler, apparently.
You actually get those? Like,
yeah.
And they'll do a full episode on this?
Yeah, wow. Like Canadian guys I've never heard of and stuff like that.
It's on
who are
Vice,
like,
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I think it's a good show, even if you're not a wrestling fan. I just think it's interesting to watch someone's real life that had happened, and then like the tragedy that comes along with it. And that's what it is they're all tragedies. It's Dark Side of the Ring. It's what happened to them. Most of them are dead or something. You know what I mean? Something happened. I recently watched the one on Luna Vachon. I loved Luna Vachon as a kid. She was great. She'd talk like that. She was scary.
I hated her guy though, fucking Gangrel. I hated him so much.
I mean, I like Gangrel.
Yeah, I know
she was with Bam Bam Bigelow before that too. Yeah, back in the day.
He was cool.
Yes, I mean she's from a like wrestling family. I learned some stuff about her. I didn't know her name was Gertrude. Like her real name was Gertrude. They'd call her Trudy. I knew about the tragic stuff and whatever, and like the family she came from and all this stuff. But still, like great to watch, and you're always learning. Like as much as I knew about her already, I still learned a lot more about her. But you just have to be ready to take like the negative because they're all sad stories. Really, they're not good.
Now, with you being more, having a lot more insight on wrestling, with like all of these like seemingly, utterly tragic endings for so many of these, what do you think it's the steroids or like what? Like obviously head injuries too, but I mean like
even now in all sports, like what athletes are now is different than what it was in like the 80s. And like in the 80s, everything was drugs. And it's not just wrestling and not just sports. It's like the world.
Oh, yeah.
Like 80s
everyone was on
music.
cocaine.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a different world. And like they didn't know all the effects of everything that was going on. And they were just like, especially in the life of wrestlers at that point, they were working 300 days a year. You're just constantly, you're getting beat up and then you have to travel. And so you have to take something to get up and then take something to put yourself down and go to sleep. And of course they're going to get addicted to all this stuff. It's that's the life or whatever. And then now it's to the point where it's like, oh, you work like 150 times a year, and people are like, it's still too much. But imagine working twice as that. And then like people now are way more concerned with being healthy and like the top of their game, whereas back in the day it was like we're gonna have a good time after we do the work.
It's gonna be smoking in
exactly.
in the locker room.
Exactly. So like things have changed. Like I've heard in wrestling locker rooms now, it's like people playing video games.
Yeah.
The old people are like, what are you doing? People in wrestling now collect wrestling figures. The old people are like, get your dolls out of here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just different generations and how they dealt with things differently. So, yeah, it was more tragic before because nobody knew how to deal with things. So, it's sad, but like, if you can get over sad stuff, or if you don't mind watching sad stuff, like this series is fantastic. I'm gonna keep watching more of them. I have 4 seasons of this that I've just collected on my DVRs.
I don't think I've ever watched it before. Like I've intended to.
Yeah.
And I think probably the closest I got was I started Mr. McMahon on Netflix, and I think we might have talked about this.
Yeah.
Like I got 10 minutes in, and I'm like, I can't watch a series about this guy. He's so gross,
and like the
he's
best
like dying.
The best part about these is they're like 50 minutes.
Yeah.
So you can, if you don't like what you're watching, you're like, oh, I can skip and watch a person I know, or you know what I mean. So. And it's not a 6-hour series on like one of the skeeviest people in the world.
Yeah.
It's like troubled people who worked for that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's like essentially Beyond the Mat, but like weekly.
Oh yeah,
so
I
like
guess.
Mick Foley, Terry Funk,
and a different story of a different person, like
Jake the Snake.
every time. So
good stuff.
That was one of them.
Awesome.
I've also watched 4 of the 6 episodes of McCartney 321, which is a documentary on Paul McCartney. Here we go. I don't know if you've heard of him.
I
He's
have.
in the Beatles.
I think he was in the Monkees.
He's like right here behind me in this picture.
It's an awesome picture.
Beatles, your thoughts? Are you a fan? Not really.
Nothing against him, just not.
Yeah, I'm the same. When I was younger,
radar.
I used to be like, no, I don't like the Beatles, just because I was like against anything.
I was into hair metal pretty much from when I came out of the womb, so
Wow.
yeah, I didn't have time for the Beatles.
Yeah. The longer that like I would grow up, the more I would be like, oh, that's the Beatles. Oh, that's the and then I realized that I do like the Beatles.
Yeah.
And specifically Paul McCartney. So this documentary, I feel like it used to be on Apple, but now it's on Hulu and Disney. Okay. 6 episodes, they're about half an hour each, and it's him and Rick Rubin, and they are like working on the actual like mixing boards, possibly the ones that they recorded stuff like from back in the day.
Okay.
And so they even have like tape on the mixing board. So and anytime they talk about a song, they take the piece of tape and they put it down on the track, and that shows you like which instrument is on which track. And then they'll like mix it while they're talking about the song. So they're like, what about this part on the bass? And he brings it down and it'll just be the bass. Or like they just turn up the vocals or whatever. And it's a lot of cool tidbits about the Beatles and like how they recorded stuff and what they were like while recording stuff. But it's just Paul McCartney like talking about it. Obviously, half of them are dead.
Yeah.
And the other one is Ringo Starr. No one knows where he is. But I really liked it. But I mean, I'm biased. I like the Beatles and it's music stuff, so I'm totally interested. The weird part is like having Rick Rubin in there because he's just like, you weren't there. Like, why are you here? Oh, it's because people know who Rick Rubin is, and like he's got interesting questions and stuff like that. But so pretty solid.
Nice.
And then the last thing that I watched this last night. Me and Megan watched it. We've never seen this movie before. Is a Christopher Nolan movie.
If it's the one you're talking about, I haven't seen it. Inception?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Okay. All right. It's a 15-year-old movie.
I know like everything with it. And
yeah.
That's
CGI.
part of why I haven't watched it, but like I started watching it recently and was like, I don't have time for this.
Well, let me ask you then. Why?
Well, I've just heard Inception, if you're unfamiliar, famous for having just like a fucking weird premise about dreaming and like there's
Layers
so many
of
different
dreams,
theories that people have. It's like, no, I've heard from this guy that the movie's about this, and I've heard that it's about so. Part of it is, I think Christopher Nolan is a great director, but I also think he's a very kind of bloated, like pretentious director. Yeah, we saw Oppenheimer. All those Batman movies are great, but they're too long. But anyway,
I like this because it was 2.5 hours. So I was like, that's kind of my max.
Yeah, especially if it's a Christopher Nolan movie, you're like, all right, if we can top out there, that's fine. I haven't really had the time, I guess. Like, and I know it's 15 years ago. It's like because I know what kind of movie this is, and people are like, "You've got to pay attention." And I don't want to watch it just to be like, "Yeah, I've seen it." Like, I want to understand it. So when I have time to do that, I will.
Me and Megan had the same thought about this, and we knew this is a movie you have to sit and watch, right? So once again, the phones go away, and we're sitting and we're watching. And halfway through, she said something that like I totally agreed with, and then after the movie, same exact thoughts. Where like you could tell this is a really good movie, but it's a little too smart for us. Like we're paying attention, and we're like, wait, what? And maybe that is like what you're supposed to do in the movie. You're not supposed to know everything, and you're supposed to try and figure it out as it goes, and whatever. But it was just like there was so much going on, and there's so many layers of it. So like the idea is to go, you can steal thoughts from people's minds while they're asleep, but the inception part is putting a thought into someone's mind while they're asleep, and how difficult that is because they know it's not their thought. But if you go within a dream, within a dream, within a dream, it's a third level dream. The person doesn't realize that they're dreaming, that stuff is going on, and then maybe then you can put this idea in. When you think of it that way, you're kind of like, all right, I kind of get the gist of it. I can watch for this. And I did get it. Afterwards, we had like 7 of the same questions, and we Googled them all. We got the answers, and we were like, okay. Afterwards, we're like, it all makes sense. Still too smart for us. Still a lot going on. Still a pretentious is... I'm going to use that word because it is very like, what's the next level of movie we can make? And by the way, CGI, I hate it. I can't stand it. The visuals in this are like stunning and incredible, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, you can create anything with anything. Like,
well, he did that during COVID. He put out that movie, Tenet, I think it was called. It was just Tenet.
Okay.
And this was another one. It was just like, he's like, I'm going to blow everyone's fucking minds with this. And no, they're not going to beg. Everyone else is releasing their stuff on HBO Max. He's like, no, mine's going to the theater. And it bombed. Like, big time. And then people are even saying the same thing with that. They're like, what the hell is... Like, this movie doesn't make any sense. And it's just another him. It's like, oh, he spent $1 million so he could destroy a jet or something like that. And it's like, cool. How long did that scene take?
He did Interstellar, too.
Yeah, that was good.
I think that's going to be the next one on the list.
That's really good, actually.
My problem with this one, besides the CGI, besides that it was a little too smart for me, which is not a problem. It was just, Leo, wasn't it? It's just me. No, love Leo. No. And by the way, it
great
starts
cast,
out
right?
Leo's in water, and I'm like, oh, we're in. Leo in water? Shoot.
Nice.
But the part that was kind of weird, and I don't know that I want to say it because I mean, like, people have
It's
seen
15 years old. Go ahead.
But for
Spoilers,
you,
but I don't care. I'm not going to watch it anytime soon.
So, like, the main thing is they're trying to plant this idea in a wealthy guy's mind. His dad's about to die, and he's going to take over the company, but they want him to dismantle the company so that this one guy, Saito, he wants that to happen so that he, like, has better market share and better value for his company.
Okay.
And the whole movie is about getting something for that guy. Getting that guy's goals accomplished. And that guy's like a bad guy.
No.
And then the other guy, who's played by Cillian Murphy, you don't know if he's a bad guy or not. He kind of seems like it because they're all rich. They're like filthy rich. So you're like, oh, they're all bad people or whatever.
Yeah.
At least that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's how it is.
But he doesn't like do anything shady. Like his dad's dying and he's getting his thoughts messed with or whatever. But the other guy is the guy who hires Leo to go in to do this stuff. And at the end of the movie, you're like, well, I think they helped the bad guy. So it's just like a bad guy gets wealthier is the point of the movie. And afterwards, I'm like, I don't feel good about this.
Yeah.
It's good. It's interesting. It looks great. You have to think about it, which is probably a good thing. But it's just like, okay, the businessman has better... Like
it's like great. This
nicer
guy
bank
came out
account
on top.
Yeah. So it kind of takes away the story from Leo, which that story too is a little bit kind of weird on its own, like a story between him and his wife, and there's a suicide involved, but potentially a murder, and you're like, I think that's supposed to be the bigger story, but I just can't help the fact that there's a businessman who is more well off because of all this stuff that has happened. So. I don't know, good, worth watching, I think, but just like, I don't know.
I loved The Dark Knight. Like, did you see that one?
I didn't. That's on the list eventually.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's definitely one of those, like, it's a superhero movie, but it's grounded, so it's not like shit in outer space and stuff.
And everybody says that's like the superhero movie out of all
it's
of them.
up there. It's like a top probably 3.
Yeah.
Like when you're talking about superhero movies that are like that should have and probably did win awards actually. Well, I know Heath Ledger won.
And like especially now since everything is a like superhero in all the movies and they're all kind of like watered down.
Yeah, so when you make like a good movie out of it, like like that first Joker movie.
Yeah.
When you just you can make like an actually compelling movie that just involves,
Yeah, so I mean interesting movie, but a little left me a little unsatisfied or whatever afterwards. So I had to eat a corn dog. That's about it for me.
Awesome, man. All right, well then, let's jump into our top 3, which is top TV moms.
Yeah, top 3 TV moms, and we're not doing the bottom 3.
No,
but going forward,
we'll just do I think
I think it's a solid. I think it's a solid addendum.
Okay, cool.
I don't know if addendum's the right word, but yeah.
Sounds right. All right, I'll start off. My number 3. So this one is kind of non-traditional, and it is Meredith Palmer from The Office. Because obviously the show is not about her being a mom, but her son is talked about, and he's on the show a few times. And I love... He's like a latchkey kid, which is terrible because I think Dwight calls him a latchkey kid in the episode he's in. And I love that from season 3, I think, when he was in it as a little kid, and then he actually is in the final season.
Yeah,
the same actor. And he's got the tattoo on his face.
Yeah,
and Meredith is trying to teach him how to do lap dancing.
It's a little weird.
It's very weird, but I've always Kate Flannery is hysterical, and so I'm gonna go with Meredith.
Yeah, and that was one of the things. It's like, all right, you think of TV mom in a certain way, like certain TV moms, but then you're like, well, literally anyone who has a kid and a thing.
I had Parks that it's like, I'm not doing Leslie Knope just because she had kids at the end of season. But you're totally right though.
Yeah. My number 3 is a like traditional TV mom, but I've said it once before. I've said it 1,000 times. Bill Cosby is the greatest man of all time. Claire Huxtable.
So his wife's got to be.
No, she is a perfect like TV mom in that show. A, as a parent to the kids. B, dealing with Cliff Huxtable, and like it's just a show that I grew up with. To me, like I think a TV mom, she's like one of the first names that pops into my head. So
awesome.
Yeah, Claire Huxtable.
Claire Huxtable. All right. So my number 2. It's Lois Griffin.
Oh,
she is fantastic, and I like. yesterday or Friday at work, me and one of the guys, we kept doing the Jesus, when they get the pool in the backyard, and Peter's like, kids, he's like, I don't want anyone swimming in this pool unless there's a lifeguard on duty. Duty. And then he's like, hey, Lois, diarrhea. And she's like, like it's the funniest thing she ever heard. She's like, Peter, I'm carrying lemonade. But yeah, and then, oh my God, one of the greatest lines ever from her, you know, when she's talking to Chris, now I'm going to teach you the fancy art of eating out at a fancy restaurant.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh God.
Family Guy is great. I only watched maybe the first like 8 seasons or something like that. And so now the reruns on TV, like TBS and that stuff, are later on. So I'm like catching them now, newer seasons, and being able to watch the new stuff that I never watched before. And it's still just as great of a show. Like,
yeah, I think some of the cutaways are a little like less original when they'll just show you like footage from a movie for 25 seconds or some shit like that. But like when you told me many weeks ago about the African guy falling and then clicking instead of doing the like that's just brilliant.
It really is. We like quote it like once a week here.
When you fall down the stairs.
Yeah, like if you like stub your toe, you just like when you heal up, you're like,
oh my God, I saw Sadie stub her toe. Like when she came running down the stairs and literally like kicked the door jam. And it's like I heard it and she just had to act like tough, you know. It's like, does it hurt? Back off.
Top 3 household injury for sure right there.
Oh, stubbing your toes.
Yeah,
God,
hate that.
But yeah, Lois Griffin's my number 2.
All right. Yeah, Marge Simpson was one that made me think of least favorite moms because I am not a Marge fan.
She was one that when I was doing Lois, it's like Marge should. No.
Like respectfully, yes, because she's been around for a long time.
She's one of the OGs,
but no,
and still kicking.
My number 2 is Kitty from that 70s show.
It's a good one.
Love that 70s show. Almost started watching it last night actually because I'm kind of looking for a new show. I've watched King of Queens like 4 times in a row. So when I go to sleep, I try to have something on that's like I don't really have to pay attention to. And that 70s show is one of those that I've seen a bunch of times and I kind of know what's going on. I actually settled for something else that I don't remember what it was.
There's a new, it's called like that. It's that 70s show, but like, is that?
Yeah.
Because they did one, that 80s show. Do you remember that? That lasted a
2
handful
weeks.
of episodes and
that 90s show. I know they did one season. They may have done a complete second season, and I think it just recently got canceled again or whatever. That show is rough.
Was it?
Yeah.
I watched like the first episode and I was like, it was kind of like it's redoing weird. Full House. You know how they did Fuller House? Yeah, it's like actually Fuller House wasn't too bad, but I watched I think just one episode of that 90s show and it was just like
it felt like casting for, you know, like woke stuff. It was like, oh, there's a gay Asian friend now, and you're like, okay, whatever. Is it funny? And then it wasn't funny. It was like lame funny. And
gotcha.
I don't know. They tried. You can't blame them for trying. In like the 90s, that's the perfect time to do it. But I don't know.
She was actually Deborah Jo. Is that her name? Deborah Jo Rupp.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
She actually was just in one of the new Marvel shows.
Okay.
Agatha All Along. She was in that, so it was good to see her.
She's great. She's very funny, and her and Red are like a great combination. Even in the 90s show, like that's really what you were waiting to watch. Like you didn't really care about what else was going on.
Eric and Donna and stuff. It's just the parents.
So yeah, that was my number 2.
All right, my number 1 is another Lois, and it's Lois. Either no last name or Wilkerson, depending on how you look at it. From Malcolm in the Middle, because this is one of those shows where they didn't have a last name.
I gotcha.
Except in the very first episode, the oldest brother, Francis, it said like Cadet Wilkerson on his thing. But then after that episode, they never said it again until the very last episode when Malcolm was graduating. And there was like a sound over his name, but you could see the lips say no last name.
Okay.
Yeah, so they changed it. But either way.
That's great.
And this is
great show.
Since I watched it more recently, she can be a bit much at times because she's always fucking yelling.
That's what I was gonna say. Is like I like her because it's a good role or whatever.
A good portrayal.
It's good for her.
Yeah.
She's very good at it. But there's a lot of times where I'm like, okay.
Just because it's good acting doesn't mean I like it. Yeah. And watching that more recently, I mean, like some of the times you're like, dude, she's just like fucking mean sometimes to the kids, you know, and. But yeah, her and Hal are just two completely underrated, I would say. I mean, like for the generation now.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, like if they could just see those characters, because everyone knows Bryan Cranston obviously is like Walter White.
It's a pretty original show too. It's like, okay, it's a family show, but like the stuff that they did in there was a little bit weird.
They showed you a very like low class family, and yeah, some of the questionably disgusting things they did. One of the worst cold opens ever was they were looking for snacks, and it was Reese and Dewey, and they're like, should we do trail mix? Yeah, let's do trail mix. That's literally them going through the couches and underneath and just literally throwing everything into a bowl, and just so it's like you're scraping it was so disgusting because they're like trying to like, you know,
all good characters too. It was a little bit weird when the oldest brother, like,
he was probably the worst part of the show.
Yeah, and then when he like moved from the military stuff to like he has a wife.
He was on a dude ranch.
Okay.
And it just got to a point with Francis where it was like, why did they do that in the first place? Why not just make him part of the family? Because whenever they would cut away to like and that stuff was pretty funny, but then by the end, Francis's relationship with Lois really got annoying. Like to where he just couldn't do anything without like...
How many seasons of this show?
I think 7.
Okay.
I would say check it out. There's
No, I'm a big fan. Like I've seen it.
I mean, like if you're looking for a rewatch.
Yeah. I do catch it sometimes now, and like it is one of those shows that you don't need to watch from the beginning. You just toss it on and you know what's going on. But like, if it was more than 7, I was gonna say it's too. Like it already feels too long at 7.
Yeah. It starts. There's a slog in there, but I guess that's probably with any TV show when you've been watching that many episodes.
Oh man, I
Around
can't
like
tell you.
5 or 6, I was just kind of like,
I'm on 5 or 6. I think 6 now, and like I love the Drew Carey show. I think it's hilarious, but I don't care about how this show ends.
Yeah.
Like I have no interest in. Like they didn't do anything for me about this person and this person hooking up and what. Like there's no intrigue. It's just funny stuff that's happening, and it's just like, man, I got to finish this very quickly. Like,
it's harder to do with some sitcoms that don't have like a running story.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I hate to always bring it up, and I'm sorry, but like Parks and Rec, it's like, so season 4, she's running for city council. That's going on. That's the main story, but there's episodes. Everything has a little bit of that city council thing, but this week Tom's doing this. But yeah, when every single week,
there's an episode in season 5 of Drew Carey where he comes out and he breaks the fourth wall. He's just talking to the people and he's like, hey, we've been doing this show for 5 years and people seem to like it, but we've never won any award for anything. So tonight we're going to try and win an award. So they do a show where it's like a pregnancy and this person has a drinking problem.
Nice.
And they like try to be somewhat serious, but they're not really serious at all. But that explains like why they didn't win anything, because it's like, we're not just going to give it to like these goofballs who are just talking about their balls or whatever. Mm-hmm. That's why we've never won an award.
And it's the shame too. It's like Oscars, it doesn't matter with like ratings. You know, the things that actually matter. People watch this show. Who cares? You know, it's not. All right, what's your number 1 then?
All right, so my number 1 is Marie, the mom from Everybody Loves Raymond.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of Everybody Loves Raymond. I think it's one of the best sitcoms ever. It's a traditional family sitcom. Absolutely love it. And she, as a mom, is like, I don't know if it like strikes a chord because it like reminds you of you and your mom and how.
Now, to interrupt, is that Ray's wife or his mom?
His mom.
Okay.
His mom.
Okay.
Yeah, the older mom. Yeah,
Gotcha.
She is absolutely fantastic. And it's a lot of saying nice things, but the way that she says them are kind of offensive.
Condescending.
Yeah, a little bit, especially to Deborah, which is Ray's wife.
Okay.
And so she'll say stuff, and she'll be like, "Oh, well, you clearly haven't cleaned today, so let me help you out a little bit," or whatever it is. But she's so good at it, especially past the first season. The first season, they're kind of like getting their footing, but after that, she's fantastic. They all are. The dad is great. Her husband, the show. Everybody has their own like little weird thing that they're very, very good at, but she is a force as a mom on that show. So
yeah, I never got into that show. I know all the characters, but
that's one of them. I watch probably every day. Like it's at least on. I don't have to pay attention, but I know the funny part's coming up. Let me watch this. It's very, very good.
Have you seen Grandma's Boy with Adam Sandler?
Is that with Nick Swardson?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. But
you don't remember it though,
not
really? Because I think that the grandma is
in
the
that.
same woman. I think that's who the mom
Okay.
is in Everybody Loves
Yeah,
Raymond.
it could
But either
be.
way.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
All right, so that's Marie is my top TV mom. Do you have any potent notables?
I do. I only have two. The first one is Peg Bundy.
Yeah.
Obviously, her husband is a staple of this show.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
I love just the blatant, like, I don't give a fuck. Like, someone who's so freaking lazy, doesn't care, doesn't work, nothing, but just has no shame about it.
I don't know how I want to phrase this, but there were moms when we were growing up who were moms. And then there were moms when we were growing up that were 90s moms. Yeah. And she was like the extreme version of the 90s mom, where it was like, I had friends whose moms like did not care where the kid was, what was going on.
Sure, you can party here.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter. And then, eventually, like, you're like, okay, I don't want my kid hanging out with you or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, Peggy Bundy was like that. I mean, you don't have to go past the credits. She's making a salad for the family while smoking a cigarette, and it falls in, and she's like, yeah, whatever, this will be good enough. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, perfect character. And she's hot.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the opposite, the meatball end. Yeah.
I gotta say, though, Sons of Anarchy, she was on that show because her husband is the creator. I fucking hated her on that, though. She played a good character, I guess, but it was like she did it too well, and it's like...
Was she a bad...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's like the main character's mom, so she's just like... She's like the matriarch of this biker gang, and she fucking kills people, and
never
she's
saw
awful.
It. Yeah.
It's another show where you have to root for the bad guys, so if you don't like doing that...
It just doesn't appeal to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and then I got one more, and actually another show rooting for the bad guys, Carmela Soprano.
Oh, okay.
We are a Sopranos podcast, my friend.
That is true.
And
if
now,
there's anything we are known for.
Yeah. She can get annoying, and I know this was always like a guy show, so it's like whenever it's Dr. Melfi or whatever, it's just like, oh, they're fucking bitch and they're being annoying. Ugh. I thought she was awesome because there were so many times where I hated Tony, and it's just like, I love it when she just calls him on his bullshit, or when she's like, fuck you, dude. Like, when he gets so mad because she's not, you didn't even ask how I was doing today. Like...
There's some parts where it's like, she's with the priest or whatever, and there's tension, and you're like, what's going to happen here? And then I'm like, well, I can't cheer against her because Tony is like, literally like, anyone that moves, he's like, hey, what's going on? You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think you either like her or don't like her, like, fully.
Yeah, no, and I'm on board because you're totally right. Like, yeah, like you watch him like basically nail everything he can in the show, but then like she's got a thing for Furio, and they have to ship him back to Italy because it's like he's gonna die.
She's great, and she's a Knicks fan, so that's bonus points
there.
So
and she's Nurse Jackie. That's the two I could think of.
Okay, I have a different Claire. I had Claire Huxtable as my number 3, but Claire Dunphy. It's not for me, but I saw it on the list, and I was like, Sofia Vergara was on my list, but it's not as a mom. Like, whatever. She's a mom in the show, but I'm like, hey, put her on my list. But Claire Dunphy is more of like the mom character in that show.
Mom,
I know Megan doesn't like her. She's too like neurotic or whatever in the show, but she's good. She's very good. Another one I have is Sophia from the Golden Girls.
Okay.
Which
wasn't she the youngest one too?
I think so.
Yeah, that's the craziest shit.
But she was obviously the mom, and like whatever. She's very good on that show. She's Dorothy's mom. Is that correct?
Couldn't tell you.
I'm not.
Joni could. Her and her sisters.
Megan could tell me she loves that show. Bishop could tell me he created that show. He loves that show 100%. Another one, Moira Rose from Schitt's Creek.
Oh God, that's a great one.
Yeah, she's fantastic. And I think if I've watched that show more than like the one time that I watched it through, she would probably be higher up on my list. I like her in anything. She's Kevin McAllister's mom in Home Alone. But as that character specifically, she's just, I mean, like almost to tears funny. Like,
to where people still don't understand what that accent is she's trying to do. There
no
are
clue.
so many, and it's like, What We Do in the Shadows. You watch that?
No.
All right. It's another really fun. There's a character on that has a very like regal, elegant voice too. That people are kind of like, I want these two to just talk for like an hour.
That's funny.
But no, Moira Rose, that's a fantastic one.
And then the last one, Lucille Bluth. It's kind of like, well, you hate her.
Damn it! I had George as one of the. Yeah.
Yeah, but
No, she's awesome.
Very, very good in that show. Like.
It's a banana, Michael. What could it cost? $10?
I don't understand the question, and I refuse to answer
Yeah, for
it.
the Ike and Tina tuna. Do you want the plate or the platter? It's so good. And then just like her constant digs at Liz. What the hell's the sister's name? Lindsay.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Portia de Rossi.
All right. So we're
solid top 3. Whatever. Next time I think we're gonna do top and bottom. Oh,
Your
I'll be the
twine's
top.
loud today.
Yeah, this is gonna hit you one of these days.
All right, so you're gonna be the top next week.
Yep.
All right, I'll be the bottom. Sounds good. All right, next week
And then we'll switch the week after that.
we might be doing.
Uh,
I feel like we did this one already, so I'm gonna put that off to the side, and instead we're gonna do.
That sounds a little like veto power.
It just seems like one we've done before. Yeah, I'm sorry. This is very non-compelling, but I feel like we did this just in a different episode. This is literally what we just did. Things you do if you won $1 million. I feel like that's treating yourself.
Yeah.
All right, sorry. Okay, this is it. Regardless, this is it.
No, you have full veto power consistently.
Top 3 redheads.
Okay.
That's what we're doing. This is by Megan, by the way. Thank you.
All right.
Hell yeah.
Megan gets another sticker. She asked me
that's
for a sticker, and I was like, I don't think you deserve one.
Nope.
And then we argued in the basement.
Rules are rules, so.
Yeah.
The other one, top TV reality show, we already did. Or no, we did MTV. Or did we do reality shows, or was it just, I feel like I don't know.
No, but MTV had reality shows.
We've talked about a lot of those.
Yeah, top 3 redheads.
That's a fun one. I liked it.
All right. Okay, well, that's it. Thank you guys for checking out the show as always, and we will see you next week.
Later.